Today in the shop, we've got a bike that we've been looking forward to for a couple of months now. It is the Yamaha R9. Now, Jacob has already gotten started on this thing, and he has a couple of the fairing pieces off so far. Right now, we've just got the belly pin off, the side pod, and then he is working on the other side right now. But today, we are going to be installing this. This is the SC1R full titanium system, and we are going to see if we can't make this thing into a little bit more of a ripper. Comes from the factory. It is a fantastic bike that has been doing the business in the Moto America paddock as of last year, clearly showing itself to be a fantastic motorcycle, and we're going to see what we can't do with this bike here in the shop. So now that we've got the fairings off, we can get a better look at the exhaust here. We've got the headers up here. It looks like we've got, obviously this is the CP3 motor, so it's got, this is the Yamaha triple. So we've got 3 headers here. Looks like we're going to need to get up in here, get these bolts off of the heads, and it looks like we've got plenty of space. We might end up loosening this and then swinging the radiator out of the way to give us a little bit more clearance, but it might not be necessary. And then from the back side here, this is going to give us access to these bolts, and there's our lambda sensor. Yeah, so looks pretty straightforward, plenty of clearance. From there, we follow the exhaust down, and then we've got the, basically they have the exhaust terminating right there, so it is not really an exhaust, more so a catalytic converter with an exit. So we're going to be updating that. Looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward. Let's get to it. Okay, so obviously we're not going to do the full unboxing because clearly this system has already seen a heat cycle on it. And the reason that is we ended up sending this exact system over to one of the race teams that we work with so that they could do some benchmark testing with their own Yamaha R9. And yeah, then we got it back. So this is the full system completely laid out. Again, this is the Y43 TC91C, so that is the SC1R canister, and that C is for the carbon version. It's also available in a titanium version, which is going to have a titanium sleeve here. But if we look at the full system here, it looks like it's going to be a fairly simple system to install. We've got 1, 2, and 3 headers here. Those guys are going to slip fit into the collector here, so just straight in here. And then we've got the mid pipe as well as a carbon heat shield here, and then the muffler and the hanger there. This is all the hardware, and then we've got the extenders for the lambda probe. So in case you need to move that around somewhere, or not somewhere, but in case you need a little bit extra, they've gone ahead and provided a little bit extra wiring for that. So that being said, with the paperwork, you are going to get a nice schematic of the system, and this is going to be your guiding light. So this is going to tell you where all of the pieces go, the different orders and all of that, and then how it all goes together. So this is going to be your guiding light, and then they've started doing a nice pictorial full color instruction with that as well. So that is going to come in your paperwork packet with the Y43 TC91C. And again, this is the full titanium version. They also have a stainless steel version that is going to be the same exact design. It's just going to be made out of stainless steel for the headers, and going to be at a little bit different price point. And we figure while we're at it, Since we are doing a full system, we're going to be removing the catalytic converter and all of that, because clearly there is not a catalytic converter in that link pipe. We are going to be handling the ECU with the Rapid Bike EVO2, and then might as well put in a nice sprint filter to help the bike breathe a little bit better. And yeah, this is going to take care of our air to fuel ratios, and then this is going to give us more oxygen, and this is going to help us get that air out of the system faster. All right, and yeah, it looks like we've got pretty much all of the bolts out, and Jacob is taking the last bolt off now, and we should have this exhaust system off. There she goes. That is the one-piece exhaust from the factory. On the scale, looks like 16.15 pounds for the entire exhaust system. £8.75 for the entire system. Okay, so we got the OEM gaskets pushed back in here, and then Jacob has the flange and bushing on the first cylinder here, and then we just have to get that done on the rest of them, and then we can start fitting up pipes. A little bit of anti-seize goes a long way, and that is going to be provided right here. Just put a little bit of anti-seize on each one of those slip joints. If you notice from that last shot, we had the center cylinder was not addressed, the center header. So basically what was happening was we were seeing a little bit of clearance issue with this radiator bracket. So we just pulled that entire assembly off and fit it onto the header pipe, and then raise that entire assembly up to the engine itself, and that seemed to have created good clearance here. So if you try to kind of jimmy that in there, you might end up making a little bit of contact with your radiator support here. Okay, now that we've got all three of the headers on, then is going to come the collector, and basically this is going to be oriented right here and going to slip fit onto the heads right there. So basically those three heads just need to come up into that location, which is why you leave these guys loose. So as you're installing the exhaust, you want to leave everything loose so that you have a little bit of play so that you can figure out exactly how everything is supposed to fit. So system is starting to take shape. We've got everything kind of loose fit on here so far. Jacob's about to put the hanger on. But yeah, as you can see, we've left everything nice and loose so that we can make sure that everything is sitting nice and even. We're about to put the springs on here as well. But yeah, I've got the lambda sensor piped in here. We're going to run to this guy down here. So we used both of the extenders for the lambda sensor that were provided in the box, so that we can get to that the lambda probe in the link pipe. There's going to be a little bit of tolerance that's built into these systems, so that you're going to ultimately need to kind of wiggle and make sure that everything is kind of sitting in a nice, even, and happy position, so that nothing is bound up. And like I said, work from the back forward. Okay, so that has the exhaust on. Everything's tightened up. We just have to wipe it down with some WD-40 just to make sure that all of the oils and fingerprints are off of it. Jacob has been working on getting a couple of the you know, the seat as well as the rear cowling and that kind of thing. Right now he's working on taking off the tank. And the reason that we're doing that is because we're going to be installing the Rapid Bike and then also doing a sprint filter. So Rapid Bike is going to take care of the fueling and ECU tuning. This is the EVO2, so this is an auto tuner. So this will tune as you ride. So this, you don't need to do any sort of mapping or anything like that on a dyno, although you can. But as soon as you take it off the dyno, it will constantly update your map for the optimum conditions. If you add a sprint filter or any other sort of performance things, this will just automatically compensate. So you're always running the best tune for your setup. And then we're obviously going to be putting in the sprint filter just to help the motorcycle breathe a little bit better. All right, so this is the Rapid Bike 2 EVO. Here's the entire module right here. And so this is just going to sit underneath the seat or, back seat or something like that. We'll see. And then this is the wiring harness. So a little bit daunting, but it's all pretty straightforward once you start breaking it out. All right, so we've got the tank off. We already put the new filter in there, so that is squared away. Tank off and seat off. So that's going to give us access to all of this lovely wiring in here. And from there, if you look over here, each one of the Rapid Bike systems is going to have a wiring harness that is going to be motorcycle specific. So all of your connectors will connect into your stock connectors here. So you're not going to have to, hot wire or anything like that, or splice in anything to make the Rapid Bike work. Okay, so now the wiring harness is fished throughout the frame. Basically what you're doing with that is you're starting at the rear, putting the control unit underneath your rear seat here, and then feeding the wiring harness all the way up through the frame and making it go to the connections. That being said, if any of this stuff is daunting to you, that's the beauty of the Rapid Bike, is that you're not making any major changes. You're not changing anything that is permanent. This is a pure piggyback system. So if you put it all in and then for whatever reason don't like it, or it just doesn't work for you, everything can go back to stock, and there's no real permanent changes that have happened to the bike. So that is the beauty of the system. That is also the beauty that it is an auto tuner. So no matter where you go, what you do, anything like that, the system will be basically making a custom map for your motorcycle for whatever intake you do. If you do velocity stacks, if you do different exhaust or anything like that, ride at altitude, ride down to sea level, anything like that, the bike is going to be constantly, or the Rapid Bike is going to be constantly making a custom tune for your motorcycle and your situation. Getting a little late in the day for us here. So basically we've got the Rapid Bike EVO in the bike, just not hooked up. So we've got the control unit up under the rear seat here, and then have the wiring harness basically fished through the frame. As far as connections go, we're basically just utilizing the installation instructions that Rapid Bike sent over. And basically I'm gonna get that added to the product page on our website. So that'll be there ready for you if you find yourself in a pinch. Also feel free to give us a call or send us an email if you find yourself in a sticky situation. Also, Yaman from Rapid Bike USA is available. So he has always been really good to us, always helped out and helped us out with any issues that we've had with the Rapid Bikes. But that being said, we are going to call it for the day, and then tomorrow we are going to get this thing fired up. Okay, here we are, day two. Jacob has been working on getting the wiring harness all hooked up in the bike. So we've got the injectors all hooked up. Those are under the airbox. Now he's working on just routing through the rest of the frame here and getting the power supply squared. Next step is to get the tank back on, and we're just going to do a real quick start just to make sure that everything is good to go as far as that goes, and then we'll be able to put this entire bike back together and get it outside and get a sound clip for you guys. So we're going to get to work, and we'll see you here in a few.
And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
All right, so that has us installed for the most part. Obviously, we've got to get the belly pan on here, but we're gonna go ahead and get a full wipe down of the exhaust before we get this thing started in a full heat cycle in it. We always use WD-40 for that. And basically you're just giving everything a really good wipe down, because basically what happens is as you're installing, you get grease or oil or anything like that on your hands, and then during the first heat cycle, that grease and oil can burn into the titanium finish or the stainless finish, and then you just have like a fingerprint or a smudge or whatever that is kind of hard to get out. So we just wipe everything down, make sure that everything is clean. The WD-40 will burn off, so it will start smoking on the first heat cycle. That's perfectly normal. Once it gets completely burned off, it will stop smoking and you're good to go. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And now we just need to get everything wiped down. Everything's tightened up. We're gonna double check everything, get it off the lift, get it outside, and get a sound clip. All right, now that sounds like a proper motorcycle. Okay, so again, we did the SC1R full exhaust. So this is the titanium exhaust, Y43 TC91C. Again, that C is for the carbon version. It's also available in titanium, and it's also available with a stainless steel header set. So then from there, we addressed the intake and we put the sprint filter in, and then under the back seat, and in order to handle all of the ECU tuning, we have the Rapid Bike EVO2. And that is an auto tuner, so that is going to basically, as you ride and as you gain elevation, lose elevation, all of that stuff, that is going to create the perfect tune for your motorcycle in that exact moment. So again, all of this stuff is available on our website, so check us out, MotovationUSA.com, and thanks for watching.